Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are listening from. We are back with another episode of The Last Word on Rugby. We have United Rugby Championship semi-finals coming up and a major South African derby happening at Loftus Versfeld, nearly sold out, will most likely be sold out by Friday evening. And that is a pretty sight. It's the Sharks traveling up to Pretoria to face the Bulls. The Bulls hoping for a third time around in the finals. And then, of course, beyond that, looking to go all the way after failing twice at the last hurdle. For the Sharks, unventured territory in the URC. They will look to claim another big scalp after beating former champions Munster in a tight contest. We'll get to that place kicking duel later on. I'll give that a wink when we will go that way. If you haven't yet, don't forget to click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and get your weekly fix of South African rugby here on The Last Word on Rugby. Mike, thanks for joining me again this morning. I think there's probably still steam coming from your keyboard of your laptop after that tense quarterfinal there in Durban last week.
Yeah, no, it was just. I mean, I've been writing rugby for 30 years. I've never seen anything like that before, an ending like that. And I thought I'd seen it
I
all.
don't think so.
Funnily enough, John Plumpy said exactly the same thing. I mean, he's been around the block 20 times. It was just unbelievable tension in that stands, and so nice. I mean, there was nearly 30,000 people there. It was like kind of the old days of Kings Park when the atmosphere got going. I mean, people certainly got their money's worth. I'm sure a few had to visit
Definitely.
their cardiac doctors on the Monday.
Again. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a game where, look, let's face it, the way the Sharks have been playing the last 4, 5, 6 games, even, they haven't been able to really get their attack going, and they're winning games on defense. So when the Sharks are playing, you're going to have an arm wrestle. They're still looking for that elusive button that they can press and just get that free flowing game going again. I actually remember, when they'd last played Munster at Kings Park, and they won by 45 points, and they played the sparkling champagne rugby, running it from everywhere, interlinking between forwards and backs. But that part of the game has just gone missing in action, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's gonna come back in time for the semi-final, because it just gets tenser and tenser. So
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, but yeah. 24-24 and at full time, 24-24 extra time, and then one goal kick between them.
Yeah, and speaking about that goal kick, I mean, it was already a tense affair. And Siakalisi spoke about all that argy-bargy going on in the game. We know the Irish are masters of the dark arts.
Mm,
But if we can go to that last minute and that little bit of gamesmanship of Jaden
yeah,
Hrix, much has been said and all of that, and we don't have
yeah,
to dwell too long on it. But what's your take on that? I had a
yeah,
strong opinion on it. Didn't
yeah.
didn't like it too much, but just what was your take on that?
Well, my take on it was that it should never have got to that point. I thought that the referee, Mike Adamson, was actually quite lax with enforcing
I
discipline in
agree
that
with you.
game.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree with you.
I've spoken to quite a few guys who were really involved, like close to the touchline or actually played, and there was stuff going on throughout that game. So it escalated. I mean, if you think back to that wonderful referee, Nigel Owens, I mean, he would have told those players to shut up long ago. And apparently both sets of players were just giving lip throughout that game. And in fact, I understand that Jaden had was one of the instigators. I mean, he's a scrum half. That
Yeah.
that's what they do. But he had actually been cautioned by Adamson eventually. Um, but yeah, it shouldn't have got to that, and Jaden shouldn't have done it, and he got caught. But I think of Peter O'Mahony. That guy is the king
The
of
clutch
giving it
master.
stick
Yeah.
with. Yeah, man. I mean, remember what he said to Sam Cane in a
Mm.
Ireland versus All Black. He said, "You're
Yes,
just
exactly.
an shit Richie McCaw." I mean,
Richie McCaw.
so
Yeah.
the Irish give as good as they get. Jaden got caught. He shouldn't have done it. I'm sure maybe country has just taken him aside and said, "We don't need this
Mm.
in sport." But it just seems to be the way the game is now. I don't want to sound like an old bully here, but you know the way the guys celebrate, getting a scrum penalty, all this
Yeah.
whooping and jumping around and high
Yes.
fiving. There's a lot of this sort of showmanship and
Mm.
gamesmanship kind of thing that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
part of the modern game. It certainly wasn't there sort of even 10 years ago, but now there's a lot of that going on. It's an unfortunate part of the game, and the worst part for me, I was embarrassed there as a proud Durbanite sitting in those stands when that booing
Yeah.
broke out for the
Yes,
for the
like.
Irish kickers. I mean, that's one thing I will say. I'm saying that Ireland give as good as they get, but you go and watch a game in Ireland, you could hear a pin drop in any one of their stadiums. That's one thing they've kept going. One tradition
Mm.
the Irish are really good at is they
Yeah.
they they are absolutely silent at club level or international level when a kick is taken, and it's creeping into our game, and that's a pity.
Yeah, yeah. I can as someone in Cape Town, I can testify that the same thing happens this side. It's quiet when the Stormers goal kicker kicks at goal, whether it's over or not, it's quiet. But as soon as the opposition player kicks, it's something it's been irking me as well. And during that Sharks game, I was as what was it? The monster kicker slotted all of his kicks while it was booing. The crowd
Mm,
was booing. I said that's justice. That's what you get for booing.
mm,
It can be a difficult kick. They
yeah.
will put it over despite the booing. But still, very entertaining game. Happy that the Sharks pulled it through. They deserved it because they've grown into that game. They dominated the last bits, and I mean, even in extra
Mm,
time, they had a kick at goal, a penalty attempt to
mm,
kick at goal, and they didn't take it. They went to the corner. Maybe they've learned some things from it because this weekend, looking at how the Bulls dismantled Edinburgh in the second half. They just switched on
yeah.
after having a shoddy first half. The Sharks won't have any
Mm,
room to
yeah.
play bad.
I must say I was glad that they did score their tries sort of in the second half of the game. They finally got over the line after,
Hmm.
and this is quite interesting. Until that second half against Munster, they'd gone three halves of rugby without scoring a try.
That's
That's
true.
three
Yeah.
lots of 40, of 40 minutes,
Yeah.
which is quite incredible, and yet they're winning games. Um, so yeah, we get to Loftus now, and I am convinced that what we saw in Durban, Sharks vs Munster, is going to be a similar game at Loftus. It's just the DNA of the Sharks currently is that they drag teams into arm wrestles. Their defense
Yeah.
is so good. So it's not just the Sharks that don't score tries. The opposition don't score a lot either. Um, so um, I'm pretty sure about this, and this is my opinion. I have a conviction that we are going to see a similar kind of game. Incredibly tense, incredibly close. Like I say, the Sharks drag the opposition into a war of attrition. Um, you know, trench warfare, arm wrestle, call it what you like. That's how they play, and they've got that knack of reducing the game. If that's the right word, you got to win the way. However you do it is how you do it.
Yeah.
But
However,
that's how they're doing
exactly.
it. And of course, the Bulls can play that game. Of course, they can. They've got some pretty
They
serious
will.
forwards there
Yeah.
themselves. But I think they would like it to be, more of an open affair, and they've certainly got the strike power to do that. But I just think all the pointers are that we're going to have another one of these edge of your seat affairs. The Sharks are the past masters.
Yeah, yeah. And looking at what the Bulls have dished up, they've been quite good in their scrum, so the Sharks will have their work cut out for them there. And their backline with Willie at the helm of the attack. Loftus will certainly be the Bulls' ally coming Saturday. What
Yeah,
what are you looking forward to seeing from the Bulls on
yeah.
game day?
Yeah, yeah. So just on the crowd as well, it was interesting. Before we get into the Bulls, that uh, after the Edinburgh game, and before the Sharks kicked off, Jake was asked who would be his preferred opponents, because obviously Sharks Munster didn't have the result yet, and he said he would prefer the Sharks because then the stadium would be full. And that's not just because it's a local derby and it's because it's a semi-final, but the Sharks also have a lot of support on the half field. Look, they will be thoroughly outnumbered, but there will be a fair number of Sharks fans
Yeah,
there. Look, I mean, if you're the Bulls and you look at how they've been playing, where have their strong points been? I mean, the way Volker Low has dismantled his opposition, their set piece is just so strong. Their mauling has been unbelievable. I mean, I don't know, I've lost count of how many tries they've scored from the lineout. That is their prize benefactor is the lineout. Can the Sharks stand up to them? Well, I mean, jeepers, price of the admission ticket alone is Volko against he'll be against Ox. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hey,
Uh,
that will be
so,
lovely.
Ox and chair versus Volko low. Where's your money? Well, I don't know. Ox I guess has got to step up there. Um, yeah, look, I mean that front row matchups. I mean, you've got Bongi, you've got Frobis, you've got Akker, you've got Jan Hendrik, you've got Vincent Koch on the other side. I mean, that's a serious showdown coming up there. But a lot depends also on Eben. We hope he's good and well, and I mean he was immense for the Sharks. I mean, crikey, he plays his full 80 minutes. That guy, and where he goes, the rest of the pack follows. So let's
Yeah,
hope he has a good game for the Sharks. Just because he's absolutely vital for them. But yeah, if the Bulls do get that edge, and it's quite possible that they will up front,
right.
yeah,
Yes.
then it could be a long afternoon for the Sharks. I mean, we've got
Okay.
Keegan Johannes playing well. We've got
Oh,
Villy who
he's on
comes
top
in
form.
every
Yeah.
now and again at first receiver. Um, yeah, yeah, and a fast dry pitch at Loftus it'll be. Uh,
Mm.
so yeah, like to repeat myself, the Sharks' best bet is to do what they do well and drag this game into the trenches and not let it
Yeah.
become an expensive affair.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. If they can pull the Bulls down to that proverbial gutter and use the experience of a Sia Kolisi, of a Eben Etzebeth,
Yeah,
guys who know how to grind out semi-finals, finals to win by 1 point. The
that's
Sharks
right.
will be able to do that. But I
Yeah.
fear that if they don't get off to a good start against that Bulls pack, that could become a long day up front, and then the Villy
Yeah.
and company will just run riot at the back.
No, completely. It's and let's not forget the kicking game as well. Hey, the
Yeah,
Sharks are not coming there to run the ball.
yeah,
They want to get at least parity with the Bulls, and that
yes,
that ball is going up into the rarefied atmosphere of Pretoria again and again and again, and they will chase, and that's part of their strategy of just of getting that game down into an arm wrestle. They will kick and kick again, Jaden and Jordan. Um, that's my feeling. But yeah, if the Bulls get good ball, there's only going to be one winner.
yeah. No, we're looking forward to what's going to happen on Saturday. Well, I'm certainly looking forward to that game. As a very neutral observer, at least means that one South African URC side will contest the final. We'll be hoping for a miracle in Dublin so that it could be possibly a repeat of last year's final, or Durban could get their sellout crowd for
Yeah.
that final game.
Yeah, and I just think it's very cool that come what may at Loftus, we've got a South African team in the final, and that'll be the fourth URC final, and we've had a team in
Consistent,
the
yeah.
final every single time.
Yes.
So then there's no surprise when EPCR, the runners of rugby in Europe, have now granted
Mm.
SA Rugby and our four teams full membership status.
Full
So,
membership.
in a
Yes.
sense, what we've done is we've had a 3-year trial since COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, as everyone knows,
Yeah. Yeah.
the pandemic forced us to relook at our rugby landscape, and our friends in New Zealand and Australia were not too kind to us. So we went north. It was quite a brave call, and boy, look at us now. Um, I mean, the teams have really shone. We've done well. We've won it once. We've been in the finals every single time. So yeah, and with that full shareholder status now, that the sort of trial is over, there will be financial benefits as well.
Yeah. 100%. There's a very good Afrikaans saying, kyk noord en veg voort. I think that's what SA Rugby and the
Excellent.
franchises properly did.
Yeah.
Mike, just quickly, prediction for Saturday. Head and heart.
Yeah, yeah. So I've already said how I think the game will pan out. It's going to be a reasonably low scoring game, considering what normally happens at Loftus. I mean, I think the last 4 games or so, they've scored over 40 points each game. I mean, they're scoring something like I think it's 5 tries every single game. I have a suspicion that that is going to come down. I think it's going to be one of these real sort of, how can I put it? I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be close. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tense. And there'll be a lot of kicking. I just, yeah. I'm with my brain now, not my heart. I'm saying I do think that Bulls pack is going to have a slight edge. And I think that
Yeah.
slight edge, and I mean, we haven't even spoken about informed guys like Kammer and Hanekom.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I just have a suspicion the Bulls will edge it in the forwards, and they'll win a close game. Not between sort of 3 and 7 points, somewhere around there. I mean, if the Sharks win, it'll be a surprise, and
Yeah.
quite
It
rightly
will.
they are underdogs. Um, so yeah, I think the Bulls should take it.
I have a slight suspicion that the Sharks will click this weekend. They are on a
Mm,
two game for this year, at least a two game
mm,
winning streak against the Bulls in the URC. They pulled off the double in the league phase. So
Yeah,
I have a slight suspicion that they might just click and
yeah,
spring a surprise on the Bulls.
yeah.
So yeah, but my head, that was a hard prediction. My head says the Bulls, they are the informed South African side. They have the
Mm,
goods, they've produced the goods, and they know what it takes to win semi-finals to end up in finals. And they have a date with destiny, whether they have to go to Dublin or
mm.
host one at Loftus. I just think they will have the the upper hand over the Sharks this weekend. If we can quickly, we know there's still URC to play, but big surprise that Rassie Erasmus announced his wider Springbok squad, 54 players for the mid-year tests, and that warm-up match against the Barbarians in Cape Town on the 28th of June. 54 players, nine uncapped, five guys still out injured, so they were not taken into consideration. Just your thoughts on the early announcement. I mean, there's still semi-finals in the URC to play, a possible final. And the Premiership clubs must still play their playoffs. So guys might think if I get injured now, I might not make it to the box for the mid-year. Or conversely, if I play my heart out, I can start every mid-year test for the box.
Yeah, the timing is very interesting. I mean, that has caught us completely unawares,
Is it?
and it is unusual because normally Rassie or whoever's the Springbok coach does wait until the URC is over. Um, to be honest, I'm not quite sure why he's gone with the early announcement. Um, but yeah, look, I mean, he is a master planner. He's got his
Can't
reasons.
take that away from him. Yeah,
And yeah, it looks like a fantastic squad. Hey, jeepers, South African rugby is just in such good health.
healthy,
Yeah,
healthy.
I think maybe look, we have only got two teams left. I'm not sure if there's much any of the guys who have been left out, who are with the Bulls and Sharks, can still do. But it's a heck of a long season. I mean, this Barbarians game is the first of I think 13 matches. Um, yeah, Rassi, you go, you good thing. We support you all the way. We're not quite sure you've announced it now, but what the heck?
Yeah, yeah. I'm especially happy about that UCT lad. He played a proper varsity cup
Mm,
and made it into the squad. He'll learn a lot. He will definitely learn a lot. He will go into camp with the guys as soon as this coming Monday. The same with Maranson Merwe at the Scarlets. I mean, yes,
yeah.
like he was just setting the URC on
Mm,
fire this season. So some proper inexperienced guys, but then the blend of
yeah.
those who's won double World Cups comes through. So all in all, South Africans can't complain about this squad. Although there's been no place for, I think someone like Ruben van Heerden was absolutely outstanding
Mm,
year for the Stormers, but knowing the depth that the Springboks
yeah.
has at the moment, yes, like it's just I can see no place to slot him in.
Yeah.
That was another episode of The Last Word on Rugby. As the semi-finals take place on Saturday next week, we will be back with the last one standing in the South African conference, whether it's the Bulls or the Sharks. We will be happy for whoever makes it through to that prized grand final of the URC. Of course, we're hoping it will be in South Africa. So whether it's in Pretoria, Durban, Glasgow, you need to defend your title. So go and do your thing in Ireland. Mike, thanks for joining me. If you haven't yet, guys, please click that like button, share the channel, share the podcast, and we will be back next week to bring you some more news on the Springbok front, but also the finale of the URC. Thanks for tuning in again. Cheers.